Shalom, everyone. Today, I just wanted to share real briefly um, the word Chad and Chud or Chub. So, this morning, what I started to do, I got up this morning, move this over here, and I was doing a little research. I started my morning thinking about the continent of Africa and how things are going on over there, um, political wise, good things and bad things. But anyway, I just thought I would do some. I had ran across a book. I do have the books by From Hebrew to Negro, Dalton books. And I remember in one of his books, I think it's in volume two, it talks about the DNA. Volume two or three talks about the DNA and how he showed there were Israelites with the DNA living in, well, we know they're in Africa, but we're just pointing out the particular places today is really on news is um, the country of Chad, the country of Niger, Burkina Faso, and several other countries in Africa where they're trying to get away from this colonialism, neocolonialism from the Westerners. And we know how that's playing out right now in some of the countries. They just refuse to leave the land and refuse to give up the resources. But we're going to continue to pray for those countries in Africa that they be completely liberated from Western interference. But anyway, I just want to briefly touch on a scripture in Ezekiel 30 that mentioned Chub, which is here up at the right hand corner. And so when I was reading this verse, it mentioned Chub, and then I had the map up to the left, and I ran across this map, which is an ancient map during the biblical text. So these are, we know it's biblical text because Libya, Egypt, Niger, and well, actually Chad is mentioned in, because I believe Chad is Chub, but we're going to go ahead and go to Ezekiel 35. Well, let's go to the article first. So my main focus is the word Chad, as a country Chad. In the biblical Bible, Ezekiel 35 mentioned Chub as a people. It says, a word occurring, Chub, is a word occurring only once as a name of a people in alliance with Egypt. Here's Chad here, here's Egypt here. In the time of Nebuchadnezzar in Ezekiel 35, Ethiopia and Libya and Lydia and all the mingled people and Chub and the men of the land that is in league shall fall with them by the sword. So we're going to come to find out later on in this scripture, the mingled people is talking about his people. Also mingle in with the Lydia, the Libyas, the Ethiopian, and the Egyptian and the Chub. So then it goes on to say, Chub and Foot and Lud and all the mingled people and Chub. And here's in the Septuagint, it gives some Greek writings here, which I don't know what it means. I'm going to go down here. It says, and the children of the land of the covenant shall fall by the sword with them. So we know the children of the land of the covenant would be Israelites, Hebrews, God's people, because they were the one that was given the covenant. So they're saying that even his people are going to fall along with these people here. And we know anytime Israel falls, it's because of some disobedient that they've done to upset the Most High. And a lot of times it's because they strayed away from the covenant and start going after the other countries and nations, the way they live and the way their culture and stuff, and they worshiping other gods. It says, and the children of the land of the covenant shall fall by the sword with them. And then it says, no doubt the Egyptians, see verse 4. It says the first three of these names or designations are of African people, unless, but this is improbable, the Shemite Lud be intended by the third. So we're talking about these three here when it talks about Cush, Foot, and Lud. Well, we know Lud is a descendant of Shem. And what really gets me sometimes is that some of us, we get offended when someone calls us African, or you're from Africa. But if you believe that Africa is quote unquote, aka Middle East, because we know Middle East is a relatively new concept. It's not an ancient name. We know that Middle East was coined in 1869 when they created the Suez Canal to separate Northeast Africa from the rest of Africa. Um, so if Shem is part of Northeast Africa, that means then you're Africa. If Israel is part of Northeast Africa and you saying you're from Israel, then you are a Shemitic African from the continent of Africa. At least that's the way I see it. Anyways, I digress. It says the first three of these names are designated as African people, and is unless, but this is improbable, the Shemite Lud be intended by the third. Then it goes and says here, it says, and you can read these verses here. I'm not going to go through this whole article. It says the fourth is of a people on the fourth is of a people on the Egyptian frontier. So the fourth would be Chub, Cush and Foot and Lud, and the Mingo people and Shub. So the fourth is a people on the Egypt frontier. Here's Chad, here's the Egypt. Y'all, you can't make this stuff up. The fourth is of a people on the Egyptian frontier. Let me go to I'm gonna go to let me just go right quick to one of these scriptures. Let me go to however 27:10, 30 Isaiah the 4. Okay, I'm gonna go to Isaiah 66:19. Let's see what that says. Oh, it talks about lewd. Okay, so it says Isaiah's Isaiah 66:19 says, and I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations, to Tarshish, Pool and Lud, that draw the bow, to Tubal and Javan, to the iso far off, that have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. Okay, so that's it. I didn't even have to look that up. It really is right here. Let's see what Jeremiah says. Jeremiah 6:46-9 says, come up, ye horses, and rage, ye chariots, and let the mighty men come forth, the Ethiopians and the Libyans that handle the shield, and the Lydians that handle the bow, bend the bow. It says the fourth is of a people in the Egyptian frontier, and the sixth probably applies to the remnant of the Jehudians who had fled into Egypt. Right. So we're talking about the mingled one. We're talking about those who will fall also of the covenant that would also fall with the rest of the nations. Remnant of the, I say Yehudians, because Jew is not a ancient name. Okay, new name. So Yehudians or the Judeans who fled into Egypt. And it goes on to give the scripture here. So and so forth. But anyways, what I just got on here to do is just to show you that I really believe that Chub is also Chad, because it said it is a people, as of a people on the Egyptian frontier. And then when you go read here, in fact, let me go to 4. Let me go back to 4, because Isaiah 4 talks about mention. So Ezekiel, Ezekiel, oh, stop it. Ezekiel 4 says, and the sword shall come upon the Egypt shall come upon Egypt, and a great pain should be in Ethiopia, when the slain shall fall in Egypt, and they shall take away her multitude and her foundation, and shall be broken down. And then 5, Ethiopia and Libya and Lydia and all the mingled people and Chub and the men of the land that is in league shall fail with them by the sword. So mean his people along with the rest of them. But again, I was just trying to point out how it seems that how history, as it continued, they would take the name out of the Bible, out of the scripture, the writings, and then they go to hide a people, they go and change the name in the land. So in the Bible, it shows that it was a people in Ezekiel 35, that it was a people of Chub. But on the map, it tells you they're Chad, with the same surrounding nations that's on this map as the same surrounding nations on Ezekiel 30, verses 4 and 5. So it's clear that they were trying to hide a people from the land, connecting them to the land, or connecting them to the Bible. So again, our people are all mixed in with all the nations over there in Africa because they fled from Jerusalem into Africa, 70 AD. That's a fact too. So anyways, I just thought I would share this. I wanted to share two other things. Let me get some light here. I wanted to share some books, two books, three books in fact. This book is called The Traveling in North Africa. Traveling in North Africa, and it's by Nahum Slouch. Okay, he did a 10-year study of the Africans the Jews of Africa, and I'm also want to read just a quick forward he has in his forwarding at the beginning of the book, telling about his travel. Real briefly, um, it says, my studies having led me by chance in 1905 to take up as a Hebrew scholar the history of the Jews of Morocco on the scientific mission of Morocco, I was struck by the great importance of the problem of the ethnic and historic origin of the various groups of the African Jews. Little attention had been paid to this problem, but I saw that the study of the question might well throw new light on the origin and history of Judaism throughout the whole Mediterranean basin. On taking into consideration the conclusions reached by general African research, I realized that the special condition peculiar to Africa and the scarcity of documents was sufficient to discourage the most zealous historical adventure. I saw that only one course was open to me: to follow the example of all the historians of Africa and to undertake a series of voyages across northern Africa, visiting in person localities of historical interest and collecting historical evidence, both documentary and traditional, touching on the life and custom of the Jews of Africa. So when he did his 10-year study, he said he brought back receipts, which was evidence, historical evidence, and documentary and traditional evidence. So he did a really deep study. You may want to go and check out that book. He did like several visits to Africa, like started in 1910, then also through 1911 through 1912. Um, so then in 1914, so this is 10 years of study. Really good book. Second book I'd like to share with you all And I can tell you where to go buy them because right now you're trying to buy them on Amazon. They cost this one book here. I'm getting ready to show you $14,000. The other one I just showed you was like 8,000, 7,000. But go to ABE book online and you can get it a lot more reasonable. So this one is called, and this is by Alan K. Gabi. And this is about a 500 page book. It talks about the North, um, the Lost Tribal Myth, Lost Tribal Myth. Um, he also does a study on the different Jews in Africa. He talks about the Indian Black Jews. He talks about the Falashi Jews. He talks about the Negro Jews, the Yemen Jews, the Falashi Jews, the Berber Jews, the Moorish Jews, and the Negro Jews. The Indian, it says Black Indian Jews. So it's just a really good book too. So this one, like I said, it's crazy what they're asking for on Amazon. One more book I wanted to share too. I have a lot of books here. This is a good word study series book right here. So I use this a lot when I'm doing the Old Testament. It gives you the all the it's a complete word study dictionary of the Old Testament, and let's see what is here. Yeah, really good book too. Really good study book dictionary. It gives you every Hebrew name in the Old Testament. It gives the meaning to it, the ancient Hebrew meaning to the word. So I've been using that quite a bit lately. So anyway, I'm gonna get on off here. I just thought I'd share this little information on my little findings regarding Chad and Chub that I believe that it's the same people. I just think that they have just changed the name on the map, um, but the name is still in the Bible showing as Chub, but it's definitely as Chad. It's the same people. So anyway, you all can do your research. If I'm wrong, go ahead and leave it in a comment. I may want to do some more research, give me some resources, and I'd be glad to go continue to look through it myself. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here. I just want to say shalom and have a blessed evening, every last one of you. God bless.